right, welcome everybody to Yada.ai Office Hours. We are really happy that you're here with us. My name is Steve Hasse. I'm the Chief Customer Officer at Yada.ai. I'm joined by my colleague and Yada co-founder, Peter Odrovic, who is the CEO. And we're going to walk you through how to set up your guidebooks and how to get those guidebooks in the hands of your guests. Now, guidebooks are a hot topic because what they do is they deflect messages from your people who are standing waiting to respond, whether that's yourself or your team of VAs. So that takes some of the pressure off of you. But even better, it enables the people who are going to be staying at your property to self-serve. So that gives them a better experience because they don't have to wait for you to respond. They can get the information that they need when they need it in a format that is really convenient, usually on their phone, maybe on a computer. And so we're going to walk you through the three-step process of creating the guidebooks, of getting them into your digital messages, and then even getting them into your properties, getting them into your listings. So let me, actually had I had a slide here for you. So we'll go ahead and share. Here we are. Next up, we've got the agenda, which is how to create them, how to share them digitally, how to get them into your unit so that you can not only deflect messages, not only help people have a better experience through self-service, but also start collecting some of that contact information so you can build up your direct bookings, right? One of the visions that we help people achieve is going from having all 52 of their weeks, if you are full all year long, from one of the OTAs or other site that brings you business, to having maybe 10 of those through your own relationships, your own direct bookings. And then over time, increasing that so that you own those relationships, you know who's coming to stay with you. That makes your life easier, that makes your guest's life more predictable, just a better experience for them. So that's the vision. Let's dive into how to make it happen. Peter?
Well, thanks so much for the introduction, Steve. I really love how you highlighted that guidebooks are one of the most powerful ways that you can kill many birds with one stone, collect more contact information, help guests when they get there, deflect messaging, and just make your life easier and make their lives a little bit better. So at Yada, we have a really forward-thinking approach to guidebooks. And what's, I think, very important here is that we're not just a guidebook company. We're a company that does a lot of different things. And one of those products happens to be guidebooks that are really tightly integrated with our messaging automation, guidebooks that are automatically generated from the listing and the listing content that you already have in Yada, and guidebooks that are really optimized to help guests and grab that contact information and really work in tandem with other products and in-room products like smart spaces that we have, just to make sure that guests get the support they need, that guests get the answers that need, and that you have the best possible tools in hand to really give a 5-star experience to your guests and hopefully turn them into repeat visitors over and over and over again. So getting started with guidebooks is actually incredibly easy. The core of every Yada account is your listings. And these listings get generated or get created when you integrate Yada with a property management system, or if you integrate Yada with your Airbnb profile and pull your listings directly from there. And if you're familiar with the rest of the Yada platform, these listings are used to hold all the cards and all the information relevant to a listing. And we use these cards to surface up AI answers. So when the autopilot's responding over here, this content gets used to respond through the AI. But the other thing that it does is automatically generates guidebooks from those cards. And when you preview your guidebooks or look at your guidebooks, you've got this ability to really turn that listing content that you've spent some pretty short amount of time generating into off-the-shelf, ready-to-use guidebooks that you can immediately start sending out to your guests. So I'm going to open up another guidebook here and show you some of the best practices that we have around how to use these guidebooks to really get them into the guest's hand, like send them out through messaging automations, send them out through some additional tools that we have in Yada, and then most importantly, how to use those in conjunction with smart spaces to have that in-room experience that the guests can use to open up these guidebooks and look at the content in that. So we're going to take this listing, for instance, and just take a look at this guidebook over here. You can see that we've got a lot of stuff in here. We've got our cover photos, we've got some details about amenities, our Wi-Fi information, and then you know, any sort of access or FAQs and things like that that might live in this guidebook. So it's all generated directly from your listing, so you don't really need to do any setup beyond just creating the content that's already in your listing. And if you ever have any photos or videos or video links or Looms or YouTubes or Vimeos or anything like that in that listing content, those are going to show up over here as well. So we take this this sample card, and we can see that it's got our images, some YouTube videos, some Loom videos, things like that. So it gives you a lot of flexibility in terms of being able to take any sort of content that you have and turn those into guidebook pages. And another really cool thing is that we know that, you know, there's often situations where you might have guests coming in from all over the place. And we have this ability to translate into, you know, any of many different languages. So all of these guidebooks, they will usually try to understand, you know, what language the guest is coming from based on their IP address and their location. But if you want to add any additional content here, or you know, if your guests you know, want to select what language they want to view those guidebooks in, they can do those directly from here. So the way to use these guidebooks is actually really straightforward. If you're integrated with the property management system, there's going to be a custom field that gets automatically generated by Yada that you can start plugging into your automated messaging. So in Guesty, wherever it is, it's Yada_URL. So we'll throw that up as a caption on the video, but Yada_URL. If you're using guidebooks anywhere else, it's also really straightforward. You can just copy this guidebook link straight from the guidebook, or click on this button in the listing that says copy guidebook link and paste that into any automated messaging that you guys send out through Airbnb or through your channel management system or through any property management system that we might not be integrated with yet. If you're using Yada with one of the property management systems that we're integrated with, you're going to get access to this really powerful module called Buy Time. So Buy Time is essentially a system that detects if the AI was unable to respond to the message, or if a human didn't get back to the guest within a certain number of minutes. So in this case, I have it set to 13, but we can go as low as 5 or 4, 3, or as high as 20 minutes. So let's say in this case, I'm going to set this to 10 minutes. If a guest sends a message and nobody responds within 10 minutes, it's going to send them this auto message. And it's also going to send them this guidebook link specific to that listing and specific to that reservation. So if you're using a property management system that we're integrated with, this is a really powerful way to get guidebooks into the hands of your guests.
And what you'll also find here, as you know, as a host, your response time is everything. Someone's going to be browsing multiple properties. They're going to be having questions. Your ability to get back to them with answers to their questions is the difference between getting booked and not, oftentimes. And so by having Buy Time, that not only gets back to them quickly, but then gives them helpful information that will most likely answer their questions, you are knocking it out of the park compared to people who are, you know, hiring an army of VAs or waking up in the middle of the night or just letting their guest messages languish.
Exactly. And it really, when it comes to improving your responsiveness, improving how the guest perceives you and how your ability is to take care of them, having these things like Buy Time and these guidebooks goes a really, really long way. So for a lot of Airbnb users, their response time is 2 hours, if not longer. For most of our users that are deploying things like Buy Time, we get that down to as little as 10 or 15 minutes, which puts you so far ahead of the curve in terms of where you rank on Airbnb and how Airbnb treats your guys' profiles. Because response time and response rate is one of the biggest things that Airbnb takes into account when ranking your listings. The newest, and we think one of the most powerful ways that we could use our guidebooks is through this product that we just built called Smart Spaces. So what Smart Spaces does is it turns your physical location and it bridges the gap between the physical world and the digital world. And this is really, really powerful because in a lot of the time, the guest is going to get to your property and they're going to have questions about things like the HVAC system, how to turn on the hot tub.
Let's just be clear. How many of them do you think read through the guidebook and remembered the critical details before they arrived?
Exactly. And we know, if you guys are like us, and all of our founding team here at Yada has been hosts at one point or another. Every automated message that you send out, even if you send the most detailed instructions on how to use everything, the guests are not going to read that. So 9 times out of 10, when they arrive, they're going to have questions. And that's because I've stayed at 100 Airbnbs and I've seen 100 different HVAC systems. I've stayed at 100 different Airbnbs and 50 different ways of logging into the Wi-Fi. It's just the nature of the ways that our industry operates. Every house, every apartment, every unit is different. So what you want to do is, while the guests are staying with you, you want to give them this ability just to whip out their phone, scan a QR code, and get any questions they might answer about the in-room amenities or the in-unit amenities. This is really powerful because instead of messaging you, instead of having to wait for a 30-minute turnaround to get an answer to a question they might need, that turnaround goes down to seconds. And this is whether you're integrated with one of our property management systems or if you're just using it with your Airbnb listings, it doesn't matter. You can get started with Smart Spaces and get these QR codes up and running in your apartments and your rentals in no time. It is really, really easy. We're just going to hit this button and we'll do it for amenities and FAQs right now. I'm going to set like internet, air conditioning. I'll do clothes washing, clothes dryer, and let's go for TV and parking. And I'm going to hit download selected. What this is going to do is it's going to generate a PDF. And I also just got an email notification. There we go. Got an email notification with this downloadable PDF, which you can then share with the rest of your team. We've also got this view PDF button. And what I can do now is I can print out this template, cut these up using the dotted lines. They're all business card size, so very standard sized. And then I can scan them with my phone. So I'm scanning the internet one right now. And it's opening up the guidebook to the internet card. So as a guest, if I have a question about getting online or how to use the AC or the HVAC or the heating, all it takes is just taking out my phone, making a quick scan of that QR code that you can put next to the router or next to the HVAC or next to any of the locations where these things might be relevant. And you've just saved yourself a conversation. You've saved your guests half an hour of time waiting for a response, and you've really gone a long way towards improving their experience. And then once you're on that.
Yeah, and just to jump in for a second, on the guidebook itself, if we can actually just go to one of those guidebooks, this one here, we have the Wi-Fi details revealed. When someone has just seen it for the first time, there's going to be a form field to enter their information. Yeah, we'll see that in the incognito window here.
Right here.
The first time through, you'll be able to get that user, your guest contact information, which Airbnb obscures from you to own that relationship. You'll be able to own it yourself, and you'll do it through these QR codes in unit. So you don't need to worry about people checking their Airbnb messages or being ultra responsive. It's going to be right there at their fingertips.
Exactly. And then once, it's a really great feedback loop because they just got the support they needed in a half a second. They've just given you their contact information. You've started building a direct relationship with them, and a relationship built on phenomenal service and instantaneous service. So when it comes time to having that communication with those guests and continuing to build that relationship, you have a much stronger leg to stand on in terms of getting them to come back and really thinking about you the next time they're looking to make a booking. And with these guidebooks and with that instantaneous 5-star service, you're really putting yourself above the competition, and you're putting yourself above the pack when it comes to offering that service and offering the results that guests really expect. And I think it's really interesting to note there's a lot of studies out there done by companies like HubSpot and Twilio and Zendesk, where more than 85% of customers across the board, whether it's hospitality or tech or shoes or shirts or whatever, they would much rather help themselves than have to bug anybody with a question and with an extra conversation. So not only are you saving yourselves a lot of effort and time when it comes to these types of guest customer service, you're also really delighting them by giving them what they want, which is to quickly, efficiently, and very directly help themselves get the information and the support they need during their stay, and especially as they're checking in and as they're getting acclimated to the space.
Awesome. Anything else you want to share on smart spaces there, Peter? That was a pretty thorough walkthrough of Guidebooks to smart spaces.
Yeah. So we have a product called our guest data platform, which is still in production. We're still working on rolling it out, but it essentially maps your guest journey from before they book until well after they leave. And things like smart spaces and guidebook views and all those things are linked to the guest and to the reservation. So as you continue using your smart spaces and your guidebooks, you'll start being able to see a lot of really cool things, like how many visits and views your guidebooks are getting, which ones are performing the best, guests created per guidebook. A lot of these really powerful and interesting analytics that are driven by having your guidebooks and those smart spaces in your unit. And the one of the more powerful things that we're working on right now is those QR codes that we just showed you, being able to show you which ones get scanned the most. And this will be able to tell you if there's issues with something, kind of preemptively let you know where people are struggling and what people are perhaps scanning or interacting with the most, which could help guide you down the road, to build additional content, to make that part of the guest journey easier. So just being able to see exactly what's going on with those analytics is going to be very powerful. So we're very excited and very proud of the progress that we're making on that and how that's going to tie in with smart spaces and guidebooks.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for walking us through all of that. And for those of you who are here or are watching the replay, thanks for being with us on this journey. It's an honor to be able to serve you as you build out your hospitality business and help you create a even better business through putting the guest at the center. We do these office hours every Wednesday, so sign up at the page that you see there, and we will see you next time. Take care.
We're looking forward to it. Thanks everybody for watching.